A very good morning, class 10th. So, as today we are going to discuss about heart structure and function. In our previous lecture, we discussed about how to draw structure of heart, and I'm very sure that after watching that video, you have little confident now to draw how to draw the structure of heart in very easy manner, and I really sure that you can draw it also if you have practiced that. So today's video or today's lecture we are going to discuss about human heart structure. It's few things, as we have already drawn the heart structure and I have discussed many things there also. So in heart there are two auricles, or you can say there are two atriums. What are their name? This one is our left atrium, this is right atrium. Here left ventricle and right ventricle. So two auricles, two atrium and two ventricles. Auricles, what are auricles? They are receiving chambers. A for A. I told you that you can remember this word AIR. Auricle, they are always receiving chamber, they will receive blood. And ventricles, they are pumping chambers, they will pump out blood from the heart, means they will send out blood from the heart. Now auricles, they are separated from ventricles with the help of coronary sulcus. Coronary sulcus is also known as coronary groove. Basically what it is a deep you can say very deep material, or it's a deep thing which is separating these auricles from the ventricles. So that is known, that structure is known as coronary sulcus. It is present inside deep, that is why it is known as groove, coronary groove. Now this left auricle separated from left auricle separated from right auricle with the help of interauricular septum. So there is two type of septums: interauricular septum, the septum which is basically separating these auricle one. So this is interauricular septum. Here it is interauricular septum, and here as you can see there is a interventricular septum. Interventricular septum is which is separating two ventricles. And what is interauricular septum? Which is separating these two auricles from each other, right atrium from the left atrium. Clear? So which is separating auricle, that is interauricular septum, and which is separating ventricles from each other, that is called interventricular septum. So septum is like a dividing wall which is separating two compartments from each other. Now there are, as you know, that auricles, if we talk about these auricles and ventricles, then these auricles and ventricles, they are separated from each other from the, there is a valve, there are doors present. So each valve opens one way and controls the flow of blood. What is the role of valve? To prevent, basically to prevent backflow and mixing of blood. That is the major role of presence of valve in heart. Now there is a pulmonary valve. Now you tell me, where is the, as you know that there from here this is deoxygenated blood. So this deoxygenated blood, now it will go to lungs. So here which valve is present? That is present between your that it is right ventricle. So here it is your pulmonary valve, because which kind of artery it is, which artery this one is? This is pulmonary artery. This artery is pulmonary artery, right? Aorta you will get confused because we are labeling it as aorta. It is the largest artery. So here this is pulmonary artery because it is going to lungs. So pulmonary valve kahan present hota hai? This is the valve which is present between right ventricle and pulmonary artery. That is called pulmonary valve. This is called pulmonary valve. Then there is a tricuspid valve. As you can see, that tricuspid valve is present between right atrium and right ventricle. So right atrium and right ventricle के बीच में कौन सा valve है? There is a tricuspid valve, and here this valve is known as bicuspid valve, which is present between your left atrium and left ventricle. So three valves. Then there is another valve, fourth valve, that this one. This is known as aortic valve. ये कहाँ जाएगा ना? aorta पूरी blood को supply करती है blood. So this valve is present. This is aortic valve, and this is present between left ventricle and your aorta. So four valve you need to know. Pulmonary valve, that is between right ventricle and pulmonary artery. Tricuspid, between right atrium and right ventricle. Bicuspid, between left atrium and left ventricle. Aortic, that is between your left ventricle and that is your aorta, largest artery. This is about valves in heart. Now there is the next topic we have to discuss here is systole and diastole, because if we will not discuss systole and diastole, we will not be able to understand what is blood pressure. Now just try to understand here that when auricles they receive blood. So let's draw our basic diagram of heart. Right, here we are drawing four chambers, that is left atrium, left ventricle, right atrium, right ventricle. So now we are saying that when these auricles they receive blood, they relax, only they relax, right? And that type of condition, when relaxed condition, that condition is known as auricular. Now who are relaxing? Atriums, they are relaxing. Auricles, they are relaxing. So they are known as auricular diastole. So always remember that this diastole word is used for relax, and when somebody relax, it means it is receiving blood. Clear? So when auricles they receive blood, they relax. Now auricles when they contract, means left atrium and right atrium they contract, then what will be opened? These valve. Here is tricuspid, and now as you can see here tricuspid valve is present, here bicuspid valve is present. So these valves they will open when auricles they contract. So bicuspid and tricuspid valve they will open as these valves. This is tricuspid, this is bicuspid valve, and they will open. When they will open? When these auricles, which are these auricles? Here is our here you can see this is our left auricle, this is our right auricle. So when these contract, then these valve, tricuspid and valve, they will be opened. That condition is known as now atrial or auricular systole. So systole means, systole word is used for contraction. So when auricles contract, that is known as atrial systole, or this is known as atrial systole, or this can also be written as auricular systole. Now when these atrium now they are contracting, it means contract का मतलब क्या है? They are passing blood to the ventricles. Now who is receiving blood? Ventricles they are receiving blood. So who will now relax? When I told you that receiving chamber will relax, so ventricular they will relax. So that condition is known as ventricular diastole. Again I am repeating, when someone is receiving blood, जब कोई रिसीव कर रहा होता है ब्लड तो वो रिलैक्स होता है, और रिलैक्स होता है तो उसको क्या बोलते हैं? डायस्टोल. व्हेन जब कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करता है तो इसका मतलब वो पंप कर रहा है ब्लड, एंड दिस कंडीशन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करने को क्या बोलते हैं, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करने को बोलते हैं सिस्टोल, और रिसीव करने को क्या बोलते हैं, डायस्टोल। अब यहाँ पे कौन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर रहा है, ऑरिकल्स, कौन रिसीव कर रहा है, वेंट्रिकल्स। दीज आर कॉन्ट्रैक्टिंग and they are receiving, so they are just relaxed, so that is why this is auricular systole. So this condition is this condition is auricular systole and ventricular diastole. Ventricular diastole means ventricles they just relax. and कब relax होती है ये condition, कब होती है ये वाली, जब ventricular diastole and auricular systole, when right atrium transfer the blood to right ventricle and left atrium transfer the blood to left ventricle. Now in third condition, see these now when ये wall देखो, tricuspid close, bicuspid close. now ये दोनों valve जो हैं हमारे close हो गए, right? these valves they are closed now. this is also closed. it means now who is going to contract here in this picture? who is going to contract? वेंट्रिकल्स. वेंट्रिकल्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, और जब वेंट्रिकल्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करेंगे तो बाइकस्पिड एंड ट्राइकस्पिड वाल्व दे विल close, and contraction का मतलब क्या है, systole. so that is known as now ventricular systole, and blood flows from now your right ventricle to lungs and left ventricle to body. जब ventricular systole हो रहा है then atria will relax. this is known as atrial diastole. always remember, relax means diastole and contract means systole. so here when these ventricles they are contracting, they are sending blood to lungs and these are sending blood to body. so ventricles they systole, they undergo systole, they are known as ventricular systole, and atria they are just relaxing, so that is known as atrial diastole. I hope you are clear with systole and diastole here. now मेजरमेंट ऑफ ब्लड प्रेशर, कैसे मेजर करते हैं ब्लड प्रेशर किसी का? इट इज़ अ रेशियो ऑफ सिस्टोलिक प्रेशर. सिस्टोल, व्हाट इज सिस्टोल? सिस्टोल यू नो नाउ, सिस्टोल इज contraction. Systole means when somebody is now pumping the blood. So systole is contraction. So it is a ratio of systolic pressure to diastolic pressure, means contraction versus रिलैक्सेशन. सो किसका सिस्टोलिक यहाँ पे हम लेते हैं? वेंट्रिकुलर्स. वेंट्रिकल्स जब सिस्टोल होती है, वेंट्रिकुलर सिस्टोल, दिस काइंड ऑफ कंडीशन व्हेन वेंट्रिकल्स दे आर सेंडिंग ब्लड टू लंग्स एज वेल एज टू द बॉडी. सो एवरेज बीपी ऑफ अ हेल्दी अडल्ट आपको पता होना चाहिए, दैट इज़ 120/80 mm ऑफ मर्करी, दैट इज़ इट्स यूनिट्स. नेवर एवर राइट योर इन योर एग्जाम बीपी विदाउट यूनिट. इंस्ट्रूमेंट विच इज़ यूज टू मेजर ब्लड प्रेशर इज स्फिग्मोमैनोमीटर. दिस इज़ द मैनुअल नाउ, तो these days battery operated they are used, but in other if you have to regulate BP manually, then sphygmomanometer is used. This is how sphygmomanometer looks like, with a band and with a stethoscope, right? So here you can see now, just look at the first position. In this, that is a normal blood flow, right? There is a, that is a artery, this is a branchial artery, this is a branch artery, and here normal blood is flowing. So this is a normal blood flow. Now once band, you have put a tightly band here on the shoulder here. There is a tight band has been put. एक tight सा band लगा दिया जाता है. उससे क्या होता है कि ये जो blood है, now this blood it flows with high pressure. This blood is flowing with high pressure. It is under high pressure, due to which the sound is audible to डॉक्टर. सो जो मैक्सिमम साउंड यहाँ पे जिस पॉइंट पे सुनाई देती है डॉक्टर को, वो यहाँ पे रीडिंग नोट कर लेता है. सो दैट इज़ योर हाई प्रेशर. सो इट मीन्स वेंट्रिकल्स दे आर सेंडिंग ब्लड, दे आर कॉन्ट्रैक्टिंग. दैट इज़ वाई दिस इज़ नोन एज वेंट्रिकुलर systole. That is why I told you that we are measuring here ventricular systole. So this is ventricular systole. Now after this pressure is due to ventricular systole, and recorded pressure is known as systolic pressure, which is 120 mm of mercury, जो आपका upper pressure होता है. अब धीरे धीरे now this band is loosened and sound becomes little dull. जैसे जैसे लूज करेंगे द साउंड बिकम्स लिटिल डल, एंड अल्टीमेटली देयर विल बी अ पॉइंट व्हेन देयर इज नो साउंड विल बी देयर, एंड दैट पॉइंट is known as when basically there is a approximately no sound, or you can hear pulse. Basically that is known as, now when no sound is there, no hear pulse, that is known as diastolic pressure. So though two things are there, when you can hear sound or heart, you can hear pulse, that is your systolic, and when you cannot hear any pulse or sound become dim, and that is known as diastolic pressure, which is your lower one, 120 by 80 mm of mercury. Again I am repeating quickly this thing. See, this is the normal situation in which blood is flowing through the artery in a normal manner. Now you have put a tight band on the shoulder, and you have just stopped this blood flow. This blood is now under a very high pressure, so there will be a point when you can hear that sound to the maximum, that then there is a systolic pressure is taken. That is means you can hear a pulse. That is called systolic pressure. Once now you start loosening the band, you have loosened it. Now there comes a point when this sound becomes dim, and ultimately at a point you cannot hear any pulse. This is called your diastolic pressure, right? So what is BP? BP is measured as systolic pressure over diastolic one. So this is about your how BP is measured. This is 120 by 80 in a normal adult. Now, so this is the systolic and diastolic pressure. If you have to write the definition, you can write down that this is a pressure exerted by blood on the walls of blood vessels. What are those blood vessels? Your artery, then your we have discussed veins and capillaries. So this is a pressure which is put it by blood on the blood vessels. That is called your blood pressure. So if now we have completely done with our circulatory system, so just quickly we can just see that what is happening, that superior vena cava se blood aa raha hai, inferior cava cava se aa raha hai. Which kind of blood it is coming here? That is deoxygenated blood. If it is deoxygenated blood, who will receive it? The right atrium will receive it. The right atrium receive होने के बाद there is a tricuspid valve. If it has to send blood to right ventricle, tricuspid valve will be open now. This valve will open, right? And this right ventricle will send the blood to the pulmonary artery with the help of opening of pulmonary valve, and ultimately it will send the blood to lungs for oxygenation. Now from lungs they will send the blood to left atrium, and from left atrium it goes to left ventricle, and then it will go to the largest artery, that is the aorta, and finally rest of the body will receive the blood. So this is all about our today's lecture about the heart structure, and we are finished with now heart structure and function. In my just continuing with the lecture, I am going to discuss about few blood components as well as their function. So till then I can meet you in my next lecture, that is about blood components as well as its function.